Hey, this is Derek with the Make a Fun Island podcast, and I'm here with JC Barat and Marshall Magnuson. And JC is working on a product called Allfeat, which is solving the problem of metadata in the music industry. And Marshall is a product manager based out of northern France, where he also went to school at EdHec University, and also studied blockchain and metadata and how it applies to creative industries. And so, what we're going to be talking about today is Allfeat as a comprehensive solution for metadata. This has been a problem that's been plaguing the music industry for some time, but it's really come to the forefront now with AI and deciding what tracks are actually original and what are derivative works, and keeping track of all that is kind of going to be has been a nightmare, is going to be even worse as we go forward with the proliferation of all these AI generated music tracks. So welcome, you guys. And JC, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started with Allfeat.
We started the ideas of Allfeat started in 2021. It was the with the co-founder Lois. We were studying blockchain in an institute in France. It was Alira, and at the end we figured out that there was a massive pain in the music industry. Was about the metadata, and it comes with an experience we had from a friend that lost his laptop. I mean, actually, someone stole his laptop and his Mac, and everything was there. I mean, he had all his tracks there in the laptop, and he told me that everything disappeared. I mean, it been recorded everything in there, and we figure out with Lois that the blockchain, by being scalable, non-hackable, completely decentralized, auditable by anybody, would be the perfect solution for that. But that was the really beginning idea. And then after this, you have to implement a lot of things in terms of administrations, in terms of tech and everything. But yeah, that was the starting point. So let's say January 2022.
Hmm. Okay. And Marshall, how did you get involved with Allfeat?
Yeah, I had started my master's thesis on blockchain publishing, specifically in the creative industries and creative writing.
Hmm.
And one of my professors was familiar with JC and his project Allfeat. She introduced us 4 months back, and we've kind of had an ongoing conversation. And then currently now I'm working in the Web3 space in video games for Legends of the Past. And so now, kind of approaching it from this angle. So really excited to be here talking with you guys today.
What is the game? It's like it's battles. It's like it's sports environment. What is the kind of game?
Yeah, it's a PvP mobile game. So you get in a lobby, you're playing people real time, and kind of the twist is it's Legends of the Past. So you are actually playing with a historical character, and then we have these cultural glitches. So there's something unique about them. And then you're able to play with them, and they have different abilities, different supers, ultimate attacks, a couple different game modes that we're coming up with, and we're in development. We haven't fully launched. We've just kind of done some test tournaments so far. So we're getting ready for our second test tournament coming up here in a couple months. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's been a fun project.
Yeah. So JC, tell us a little bit now. I mean, because you guys, I mean, you've been around since 2022. So it's not like you're brand new. I mean, you're relatively new, but you guys have done a lot of deep thinking about this problem for metadata, and making it so that the music industry can be more automated going forward. So tell us about some of these kind of major, I guess, well, we don't have to get into architecture right now, but just talk to us a little bit about some of the pieces of Allfeat and why they're there.
Yeah, the idea was we want to create an architect, an infrastructure that could be the source of truth for the music industry. It's like
Hmm.
um, today we know all this. We have 150,000 tracks daily You have pain. We have a massive lack of discoverability. You have lack of creation identification, because it's really painful. You have like 2.5 billions unpaid royalties. Why? Because sometimes people don't know that you have to be registered in CMOs, or you have to go in a certain path to download everything. And the thing is, in the same time, the population of the music industry is massively growing in the indie size. So the indies is like 40, like reaching 50% of the world creators.
Yes.
So it's massive. So you have one way that in one side, people that are facing massive lack or explosions of everything in terms of data registrations or tracking data, and in the other way, you have, because like my daughter, she's 13, she's able to create anything with a laptop or mobile. So you have an explosion of creations, and these first issues will boom because now everybody will be able to create. So we were thinking that maybe this infrastructure will, let's say, unchain the value of the music, and that was the main idea. We want to create something really strong to be able to register and to track your creation, that will give you the opportunity to unchain the value of your creation. Yeah.
Yeah. Marshall, go ahead. Are you gonna jump in?
I think really the main thing that I think I find really interesting in what you guys are doing, and I find it just overall globally, is the fact that like why for me, like JC, what's so important about data in music? Why did you come, you know, you said you were interested in that, but I think that's so often it's like nobody cares about data. Why would I?
Exactly.
So why did you come to that
You know,
conclusion?
I was laughing, like it was in 2023. I was listening about a podcast, and someone say, "Boring is coming." What the hell?
Yes.
He is right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
boring is coming. Everything now needs to be uh, properly registered. It has to be correctly. So yeah, and I mean, I do believe and I do like this architecture, infrastructure, Excel sheet, all the the organization. I love it, and Lois too. So yeah, I mean the early beginning, the yeah, really the boring is coming is exactly the idea of if you want to create, if you want to bring memory, because that's the second thing. If you want to create something, the real pain is talking about memory in the music industry. Because to have a complete memory about the creation, you need to secure what you've done in the past and to protect what you will listen in the future.
Mhm.
And for this, it comes with all the details from your track or for your works. So all the details. So it's like API as a people. It's like WC, RC, but you have UPC and a lot of um, registration numbers, and these helps the discoverability. So you have to explain that music is like it's rock and not classical songs. It's like it's I don't know, it's BPM, it's longer tracks, it's all these details has to be registered, because like this, when you will make a research on whatever tools you have, you will be able to see it. And it has to be really, really well explained to all the artists, because some of them don't know. They do it something, put it on socials, and say, "Okay, I did it."
Mm.
Yeah. So the music industry has some standards today for collecting this metadata. So there's like DDX, there's ISRC codes. These are some, vague things that not everybody in the music industry knows about. So why don't these solutions work?
In my point of view, it's working, but not enough. The point is now, I mean, these like DDEX, a lot of big companies or big association, organizations, foundations are doing like really good job. But the first thing is all these organizations are not completely working together properly. My point of view of this, it's like in a positive way. It's when you're building a database, when you're registering data, you have your own cost. So you have to save your cost. So you want to share your data, but at the end you're working with your own database. So, and this you have to monetize this because that's your business. So you can share whatever you want because you know that the music industry is in pain, but at the end you have a business to run. So you're trying to mix the both. Having, and that's the first thing, database. The second thing is you can say that I want to create a foundation because I want this completely open source. But at the end, a foundation is not, technically speaking, how can I say this? It's not completely safe in terms of economic model, because you will say, like Wikipedia, you will write everything, and you have a lot of people that trust and will certify the data are good. But at the end, they will ask donation. If you're going in music, we have some examples. You have a foundation, they will try to create some subscription on some stuff, but in the same way, they will ask donation. So they are like in both situations. When you have a blockchain is completely open source, like a foundation, like you can have with music brains, for example. But the thing is, the economic model is completely based on the token. And that's the game changer. Because like this, you will store all your data at a really, 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 really low cost. But the fuel of the chain is a token that you will use for utility to store your data. So yeah, that was the idea of how we can store metadata in a decentralized and safe environment in a really, 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 really low cost.
Yeah, and the one thing I've experienced as an indie record label, executive is that, like, say, ISRC codes, for example, they were meant to uniquely identify the recording of a song. And what's funny is all the digital distributors now automatically assign an ISRC code because nobody knows what they are. Like indie musicians, whatever, they don't know where to get them. They don't know where to, um, and so they just automatically assign it. So if I record a track and I upload it to, say, just on my album, and then another record company or somebody, or even as a record label, I want to put together like a greatest hits album, I'll re-upload the track, same track, you right? And it gets a different ISRC code. So now I don't have a single source of truth for what that ISRC code represents, because now I have multiple ISRC codes representing the same song. And so this is like pervasive, even I think with the DDEX format as well, there's lots of entries for the same song all over the place, right? And like, does it have the same songwriters? Does it have the same producers and the same entry? Like, it becomes this big nightmare and morass of data.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why what will the, I mean, our goal is let's talk about the situation in a couple of years and then Allfeat succeeded. It's like when you will receive a track or a works, you will have two options. Either you write the metadata as a creator, you write the metadata in Allfeat and you download everything in this place. And then the other thing is you're on applications and you want to know if these works are already existing in the ecosystem. So you will read the blockchain. So you will have in one place, completely open source, completely decentralized and open to all the communities, will be able to see the data or to store the data for a completely low cost. So yeah, that was the beginning. Let's say the interoperability between all the database today, first, and second, the cost of the cost of a current Web2 database compared to a Web3 blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other feature too of blockchains that I always like to bring up is the immutability part, right? So like once somebody has established that, say, this song was written by Michael Jackson and produced by Quincy Jones, right? Like that once that Genesis block is created to identify that original work, and nobody can change it, right? And anything that comes after that is a derivative, or it would be kind of like an official, revision that is linked to that Genesis block. Um, and so, yeah, so it solves all kinds of problems and disputes. It simplifies disputes. Um, and Marshall, I'm given that you're in France um, and obviously you probably lived in the United States for a while. So like the international part of this, JC's kind of hit on it a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about like why blockchain is important for like global registration as
I
well.
I I think that that's actually one of the main things that Allfeat is gonna be able to do here. When
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at market, right, not all players are made equal here, right? Especially, I mean, the EU and Europe, they have a pretty good system, and so they feel pretty confident. But when we look at music as a whole and you look at what markets are growing, you see Africa, and you see this massive potential that exists there. And how are the systems working there? Are they able to save data properly? Is this something from the government that they're having, similar to the EU? It's not made the same. And so when you look at this, you're able to provide a global product and a global tool that can be universally applied. And so I think in particularly this is where there's a lot of opportunity when you look at Allfeat as a solution and as a technology, when you consider emerging markets and when you consider a global market, that's when it really becomes something enticing. And I think JC, and you guys have been in discussion with quite a few organizations in Africa and even maybe some government. This seems to be an area of opportunity in the market for you. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. When we were starting the project, so again, it was in 21, and at this time, everybody was talking about NFTs. It was the beginning of the understandable way of what is the blockchain and the Web3, and everybody's were jumping. I mean, the main adoption was about gamification. So when we came and said, okay, we want to create a blockchain, a layer one for the music industry, people looking at us and say, what? Why? See, that's no, it's comic. It's not serious. You will raise, but it's not serious, isn't it? Even my wife told me this. So, but it's actually I'm still and now we were convinced about the fact that the blockchain will solve this. So I met personally in France, in Europe, in Africa, in LATAM, many industries or organizations, but it was really they told us, okay, show me. Okay, look, building a blockchain in 3 months, it's a bit complicated. So give me some time. Okay, when you will finish, show me. But there is something interesting in this. Okay, so that was the first approach. And the second one, and even me, the second one was the competitions. We have, for example, you can have CISAC, so all the CMOs. You have rights companies. You have sometimes streamers. They were looking at us like competitors, so, or even like, for example, music brands or companies or associations, organizations that was nearly working with the same idea of Allfeat. Now in 25, they all understand that we are, let's say, the layer 0. So we are in competition with nobody. We want to create something that will be really open source and accessible for everybody. So now we have CMOs that are really interesting in Allfeat because they will put the WC and they will write the WC, the ASWC in the chain, but in the same way, they will read the appropriate RC or the API or the UPC. So everybody, all the organizations will have to use it. And the more people will use it, the more it will be useful.
Value. Yeah, value.
Valuable. So that's why we said Allfeat unchain the value. At the end, you have in one place accessible for everybody the data, the appropriate data. So, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about the proof of ownership thing and the proof of authority. So let's start there because I think that's kind of the most important piece.
See, technically speaking, we've built in two pillars. The first one is the tech, and the second one is the social environment, social ecosystem. So the first one is the tech. To secure a blockchain, it's like a big database. You need people to validate that this is a good technical block and all the information inside are technically good. Okay, it's all tech. So we have here the proof of authority. We will have people from companies or people from the music industry. We already have, and they will certify. They will validate that these blocks, these information, are good. Then we have. So this is the technical consensus. Then we have a social mechanism. That's the proof or the protocol of metadata, the POM. So layer 0, the POA, proof of authority. And on the top of this, we have the protocol of metadata, which is the mechanism. And we will have two kind of people or two actors, two players inside. One will provide the data, and another one, the trust, will confirm that these data are good or wrong. And we have internally a system of rewards if it's wrong or bad. That's how we think it will be solved. And the more people will use it, the more accurate the information will be.
Yeah, so if you're an entity and you're verifying that these are like original works, right? And that data is seen by the community as valid and good and high quality, your reputation is maintained.
Exactly.
Right?
But
Yeah.
you have a rank, and it gives you we'll have an open source ranking, and then you will be able to check it and to see, okay, these guys are voted always in a good way, so I will follow them. For example, like you can say that CMOs have some good informations, legal companies, lawyers, like I know as a lawyer that these and these entities are dealing together. So if I'm voting in the chain that these two entities, artists or companies, are linked, okay, my vote would be probably not better, but more accurate than others. And it's always something like this. It's really based on the social proof. But actually, just one thing, and that's interesting that Marshall is with us. We will create a scientific committee, and we want people from the music industry, but people from not. And these people, this organization, this committee, will try to fix all the rules that will build the protocol of metadata. Marshall, that's good. It will be in that kind of a committee. Really, we need people that just have either experience or experience in the blockchain environment. So yeah, that's why that's how we try to build it.
Now, JC, there's something I have a question, because I think it's actually really unique how you guys are kind of having this layer zero of your POA, then you have this social layer with the PUM. Now, I think something for me, and I think this is just kind of a general question that's going to come a lot in the Web3 community, and so I guess I'll just kind of voice this now, is you're going to have validators. Okay, so you're going to have people working within publishing or something that they're somehow associated with firms. But more on this social side, how are you going to tie in rewards and use, I think you guys are AFT, right? Is the Allfeat token. How are you going to reward people to participate and validate and be in this? I think this is a really kind of interesting kind of tokenomics aspect. What is it for you guys, and how are you preventing from malicious behavior, if you will?
The first thing is we are now talking about like we are already deeper in the project. I mean, since day one, I didn't want to talk about blockchains, tokens, wallets, tech. When someone is coming to me and say, "What are you doing?" Like people from friends, or when I ask my daughter or my son, say, "What did you sell?" When did you tell? When people say, "What is doing your father?" He's doing a blockchain. But no, your father is in the music industry. That's all. The pain will be technically solved by the blockchain, but the real focus is music. So first thing is, we want with Lois, we want to have something really, really technically seamless. So like this, you will go in Instagram, for example, you will follow us, you will have all the informations about what is an IPI, WC, RC, everything. Because that's the music industry, metadata. Inside, we have the tokens. The token, it's like we have 1 billion token, and this 1 billion will help the blockchain that's the fuel of the blockchain. So how it works, you have, let's say, a big Excel sheet or like you're in the mall, in big old mall, and you're entering in this big mall, and you have groceries, restaurant, everything. In this big mall, everything is technically built to have his own economic. But everything here, you will pay with one, or you will use one token, one paper. That's the same with Allfeat. It's a massive Excel sheet. And this Excel sheet, all the economic is based on the token. You will store the data inside. So to compensate, to reward the people that will use properly the blockchain, then it will go with the token, because they will use in a proper way the blockchain, and they want to participate in the let's say the useful activity of the blockchain. So we will use it by compensate or by rewards, by rewarding with the tokens. And how we will fix it? It will be done like in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks. We want to create something. That's why we're creating this committee, just to have people from metadata, from blockchain technical aspect, to design the protocol of metadata to finalize this, because it will be for everybody. So we want and to be to be linked with all the legal aspect of a database. So yeah, that's how we will do it.
Yeah, so let's get into a little bit about how this kind of works kind of in real life. So let's say that I'm an AI company and I want to allow musicians or even normal people to remix songs, right? So let's go back to Michael Jackson, like Michael Jackson Beat It, right? And I want people to be able to use my tool, my AI tool to remix Michael Jackson Beat It. And when I'm done, or when one of my customers, users uploads the track to a music service, maybe my user goes, "Oh, hey, I created this track, but it's really Michael Jackson's. It's just a derivative work from Michael Jackson, right?" And this is the problem that all the distributors are having today, which they're getting sued by all the big corporations by saying, you know, all these rogue people are just uploading remixed tracks or sampled tracks. So how does Allfeat solve that problem?
I think we'll solve this in multiple steps. The first one is, you can see now in the music industry that you have streamers, for example, Deezer, that they will recognize if your track has been made by AI, and they will tag it. Or you have some streamers that, or like IRCAM Amplify, and they have this magnific tool. Or you have streamers that will say, I will not send any royalties to this because it's fully AI. So I don't know from where it is. I don't know. Okay, so that's the first thing. Is the industries, the companies, the streamers will tag AI creation.
So there'll have to be some sort of algorithmic detection
Yeah, and
at some level.
it's
Yeah,
quite easy.
yeah.
And this information will be stored in Allfeat. So when the streamer will go to the chain, they will say, okay, for example, his WC has been recorded or has been is a register in the chain. Deezer tag that it's AI. IRCAM Amplify tag that it's AI. And you have different actors, players that say that, okay, these works or tracks being created by AI. So that will be the responsibility of the diffusion, so broadcast, radios, streams, to pay at the end these creations. But for us, we are a cold tool. So we'll just took all the information and let be available for everybody.
Mhm. Well, and I guess I could too, as the author of the AI remix, tool. I can use Allfeat to know that, hey, this person is now, remixing off of Michael Jackson Beat It, and I can create the block, right, for the derivative work tied to the original work. I mean, that would be the best way, right, is to create a closed loop ecosystem where Allfeat is used end to end, from the original tool that created it to, the streamer who's streaming it and then redirecting the royalties back to
Yeah,
Michael
I
Jackson.
mean,
Yeah.
what we will, again, we are cold. So
Mhm.
what we will do is, step by step, the information that will be stored in all of it will be step by step completely accurate. So
Mhm.
we have like 80% of the whole information in the music industry that are completely good. Okay, so they will be in here completely automatically downloaded in a chain. Okay, but then for the 20% not completely good, all the social mechanism will help to give many information and try to say step by step that it goes to the good information, and that will be massive in the next area of the music industry, which is for me the finance aspect of the music. Now, when you have your music and you want to split it, to cut, to sell catalogs, to split your catalogs, or to raise, you can raise money just to increase the power of your tracks and to diffuse your track, then you will need to have accurate data. So Allfeat will help the future of the music industry because it goes to, you can name this tokenization, split, finance, but that's the way it is. This is the finance in music, and it's coming, and it's really, really quickly coming, like in gaming.
Yeah. Marshall, you might be able to talk to this a little bit more about the importance of smart contracts and then the accuracy of the data and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, I mean, the main thing, right, is that you're proving real users. I mean, in for gaming, you're rewarding people that are actually real, and you're having to kind of somehow create ecosystems that are doing that. And I think this is really, I think technically speaking, this is something really exciting for people that understand it. And then when you kind of go outside of it, you're like, okay, decentralization. We have this immutable, time-stamped record of everything. We can track anytime a transaction's on the chain. We can track anytime people are interacting with it. But then outside of it, I think it's kind of confusing of like, why are you creating these systems? What's the importance of this? And I think that's this idea of it's creating something that's real. I mean, everyone and everything that we create, I mean, it's all unique, right? And so you have to somehow be able to show that and record that and be able to prove these systems exist. And I think Allfeat really is one way, and you're exploring this aspect of how you can do this within music, how you can create an ecosystem within this, and how you guys are even going further of validating and having this social layer. I think is particularly interesting because there's now participation. And I think participation in creative works is especially important when we're looking at all the trends and everything that's happening. And I think, again, this is what blockchain and Web3 is answering. It allows people to participate. It allows for me to say, this is my favorite artist. I've followed them for 5 years, and I know that this is them. I want them to blow up. I love them. I'm a fan. I'm a mega fan of whoever this is. And there's this new identity and relationship that you can have within music, within art, within video games, with these different systems. And that in particularly, I think, is what's really unique and exciting for me. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity when you're looking at participation, this social layer of I can be a part of this movement. I'm validating that I know this artist. I know that this is their music. They deserve to receive the revenue and the royalties from this song, and I'm helping them in this process.
And
So what that
yeah,
okay.
completely agree. Sorry, I completely agree with this. And it's like, for this to help this idea to succeed, in my point of view, you need at least 3 things. The first one is this tool has to be really accessible and everywhere. The second is you need, as you will address the world of music, so different different groups, different countries, continents, you need to have the costless tool, because you will touch some like really poor countries and like really rich. So you cannot have a cost by countries. You have to have one cost for everybody, and it has to help first the countries that are not able today, because they are sometimes just too small, not because they are poor, because they are too small. They don't have their own database. But then now with the blockchain, they will be able to have their own database. So first, scalable for everybody and accessible. Second, costless, like really. For Allfeat, to store 1 million bytes. So Allfeat, it's 7 bytes. Allfeat, 7 bytes. To store 1 million bytes in Allfeat, it costs you $1. So that's like, it's massive. And the third one is, that's trust. And trust, that's, for me, trust is the word or the word of the future. I mean, that's the word of what will happen in the future. You can create everything. You can be anything today. You can create people, companies, you can create animals, whatever you want with AI. And we can see now Europe is going with their own wallet. China is creating some TCC, a blockchain for creative industries. India is doing the same. Everybody wants to know now if the person I'm discussing with, the company I'm in deal with, the meeting I'm in with is real. And for this, you need trust. When you have these three, let's say, targets, then you can build inside the music industry with all IP secured and with costless actions.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you bring up a good point because some of the objections I've heard here in the United States, especially I'm on the West Coast, and Los Angeles is a big, and New York are kind of like two big hubs of the music industry, and Nashville too, I guess. But they say that music industry people say, oh well, the music industry is not interested in blockchain. The big companies like Universal, Sony,
They're right.
Warner, they all have their own databases. Like they know who wrote Michael Jackson Beat It. They have all the splits and everything, right? Like so why do we need this blockchain thing, right? So yeah.
I mean, they're right. They're right.
Mm-hmm.
The music industry is not taking care about the blockchain. And I mean, people know what's happening with the security. Like blockchain is like, it's security, scalability, and decentralization. Okay. But if you are explaining that, in fact, a blockchain is a massive Excel sheet in which you can write and read data, then say, okay. And it's secure. Yes. Okay. So maybe there is useful things to do with this. Yes. For example, we know like a couple of years ago, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, all the guys in the music industry said, okay, after NFTs, now it's fans database. You have to create your own fan, everything. So you have a lot of application focusing on fan. Okay, that's good. But you have to create your fan base in your word, okay, but this has to be connected with another one and another one and another one in a massive network. All this has to be fixed in a layer 0, in something that we will all speak the same language. Even if we have our own community, at the end we will be able to discuss together, to have the same standard of discussion, of exchange, of, I don't know, talking about maybe money or valuable assets. And for this, you need blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that gets back to the single source of truth thing. And the other thing too, I think that's important is even though these big corporations have their own databases of this metadata, it's behind, right? It's behind a corporate network. We don't get to query it, right? And so I think what's interesting about Allfeat, as you've been saying, JC, is it's the global and open nature of it. Is like I can find out, hey, who wrote that song? Who was the producer? What are the splits? And so I think that's going to be just a huge asset to everyone in the ecosystem, as you're saying.
Yeah, because
And Derek, you touched on it, Derek. You said yourself you were an independent artist and you had published things earlier. This type of stuff it's great. Large corporations and organizations, they already have their data, everything is set fine. That's great. The intermediaries, they can stay there. They can keep their piece of the pie.
Mhm.
This is really about looking at, are there new waves happening? And the wave is happening currently. It's independent artists, it's
Yeah.
indie artists. They want to
Right.
capture more value. They want to be able to do things differently.
Yeah.
This is an avenue in music that they can do so, but there's so many different avenues that are going to come. We're going to notice this trend more and more with AI. And he talked about it with trust, right? It's all going to be about, I know this person, I know they're real, I know that their work is really good. I trust independent artists. So there's a huge opportunity outside of corporations, I
Mhm.
think, in Web3 and blockchain.
Yeah, and let's try to like to go higher on that subject. It's like, you know, I'm always talking about the ecosystem in which you have all the let's say the stakeholders. And when we were starting Allfeat, I was convinced that you need a common standard and a tool that will use this common standard. So I do think that industries are leveraging tailored blockchain. You have, for example, if we say that you have Allfit in music, we have the same for sports. Chile's tried to do it. In logistics, you have Honest. In Medicare, you have a French one. That's Galion. You had an experience with Aura for the luxury. Why having a blockchain for one purpose, one industry? It's because that's not the same way of having cost, having accountability, having people inside. I don't know, seasonality, or I don't know how to say this, like yearly working activities. It's different. So when you have in one industry, so that's here IP in music, the same standards or the same tool to fix all the standards, that will help. And that was the idea at the beginning, to say that, okay, definitely music, because all the stakeholders are not talking together, and they don't want to give all the information together, need one place to safely share all the information, but in which they will have interest, and they will have their own interest to use it, because they will read or write, and you have just um, two word on this use. It's read or write, and everybody will pass to this position, read or write information in the blockchain.
Yeah, and this brings up another great point, which is the developer community around Allfeat, something like Allfeat. Like once something is open source like this, there will be a lot of developers who will pop up and start writing things against it, right? Or I should say, writing solutions on top of it. So Marshall, kind of back to your expertise in the social layer, are what kinds of apps do you think would be, emerging and types of developers who will take advantage of Allfeat? Kind of on the social layer part.
Yeah, I think this is where I think there's a lot of excitement, and we're kind of in the wild west in Web3 right now, where there isn't this perfect solution. There's not this like turnkey, like open source platform approach that has worked. And everyone is kind of, there's all these different projects, and everyone's coming at it in
Mhm.
different ways. And
Yeah.
I think what's really exciting is that there hasn't really been this like one answer to how people are adding what the perfect social layer is, or how governance, or how it's developed, or how it's scaled correctly. I think it's still to be found. And I think that this is really an area where it can happen. I think Allfeed is an example where people can build on. I think there's a lot of other applications that we see in supply chains, and again in boring industries. This is where we're really going to see it. It's kind of, it becomes more clear of how it works when it's simplified to these, industries that have these specific use cases. And so I'm not sure when or where or how exactly it's going to come, or what it's going to be, but it for sure will be in these boring industries that we think undoubtedly there's going to be something, someone's going to figure something out, and then it's like, oh, this is how we're going to build, this is how we're going
Yeah,
to
I found
network.
it very interesting that it was, I can't remember, I think it was Universal Music sued the, Crumble Cookie Company here in the United States. Did you guys hear about that lawsuit? Um, yeah, that Crumble Cookie was, making social media posts with music, on TikTok, and then Universal said, "Hey, you weren't paying to use, our music in your social media campaigns." And so they could literally bankrupt a cookie company. That's,
Look,
like, so silly.
exactly, this example is really like, take this. Imagine, like, again, let's take my daughter. Okay, she's creating a song and she's sharing the song with friends in a group, WhatsApp or whatever. And then these songs is going viral for you don't know why, because we never know. And it goes to Instagram, for example. But then from Instagram, someone took it and send it to and create something and goes to TikTok. My daughter, she's too young, so she's not having Instagram or TikTok. How does she knows that her song has been played in TikTok or Instagram and needs to be compensated or paid for that? Because
Mhm.
that's her songs. Okay, I mean,
Right.
not talking about AI, just her
Yeah,
creation. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so now that was without Allfit. Imagine tomorrow she's doing the same. When she'll share it to uh, Instagram or no, to WhatsApp, she will write the information like in one click with the ATS Allfit timestamp. She will write it in the chain of Allfit. And then someone in Instagram or in TikTok will be able to go to Allfit and to read that these WCRC or whatever, this creation is here. So all these networks will have no excuse to say, I didn't have the information.
That's
Dude,
right.
now you have
Exact
one box, open
Yeah,
source and decentralized, that will store the accurate information
yeah, and international too,
and
right?
international. Yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
today, let's talk about the front of the blockchain, because um, that's what that's in a way we're different with all the layers. Um, we will create front office, front applications to help people to go again seamlessly to use seamlessly the chain. So we will have 4 tools. The first one is the ATS, Allfit timestamp. So everybody will be able to use the blockchain really easily. It goes to protect.allfit.org, and you will have everything to put your track. Or you have your all catalogs. You'll go to MIDS, Music Industry Decentralized Data Structure, and you will download all your catalogs either in a unit load, so register.allfit.org, or in a massive load, your CSV folder, so load.allfit.org. So here is your catalogs. The third one will come in 26. That will be the DIF, the data input fidelity. It's all the broadcasting, radios, proof of diffusions, I don't know, everything that will use the music in works or in tracks or even in releases. And then the fourth one, the magic one, will be audit, open data income trust. This will help open sourcely, decentralized, and universal a code that will automatically uh, start the royalties payment from one music to the owners. But for this, again, we need CMOs. We need people that will audit this code. We will still need these guys. but in a different way. That's just, everything is disrupting, it's just changing, it's moving. We will need CMOs because we will need controllers, but they will audit the code, or sometimes they will write new codes. So ATS, Allfeat timestamp, MIDS, music industry decentralized data structure, diff, data input fidelity, and the fourth one, audit, open data income trust. These tools will help the music industry to open sourcely use that format to have a better use of the whole ecosystem. And they will be able to manage to write their own. It's all white label because it's open source. It's all white label.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, we might want to wrap up because we've been going a little bit. We might have to do like a part two as JC, you guys bring some of these new tools online. And so, any last words, Marshall? Anything you want to say or last thoughts?
The only thing that I really want to say, twofold. First, I'm working for Legends of the Past, so in the next couple of months we're gonna be having some test tournaments coming up. So I'd love to be able to send those over, share those. You guys will have to try out the game, tell us what you think, what legends you think should be added in the future. We have a lot of interesting aspects of governance. The community is influencing it. And then finally, I think is really just being able to kind of acknowledge JC in this pioneering mode, right? And just going in, you went in dark, you were cold, and you're just going in and building. You're collecting data, and now you have this dashboard, this audit, all these exciting things with royalties that can happen. There's this new realm that is coming. And it's, for me, it's a matter of time. And that's what's really exciting about all of this and all these projects. There's this technical aspects that we can't always wrap our head around, but just know it's a matter of time. It's going to be simplified. There's going to be a way people understand. It's going to come, and so it's really exciting for me because we're still super early. We've just scratched the beginning of actually the true application uses of Web3 and blockchain.
Yeah, and I think, and we've talked about this a little bit offline, of the true innovation doesn't happen with entrenched players, right? It happens at the edges. It's always an outsider who comes in and starts the disruption wave. So, so JC, you and the Allfeat team are definitely doing that, and so we want to be here to support you. So, yeah, any last comments from you, JC?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're completely both right. I mean, I was talking about the CEO of Robinhood that was not coming from the his industry. Yeah, he just came and read and said, "How come it works like this? It should work like that." And then he put this on the table. We've been creating the same. Plus, it's completely open source. So if we are wrong, maybe we might be wrong, but as it's open source, anybody can jump and say, okay, look, I think we have to, okay, just propose it. That's open source. Do it. Just propose the new code. Everybody will follow it and will create it. If it's needed, it will be. That's for sure. Look, just one thing. Can you imagine, Dan, Europe, okay, the continent of Europe has 740 million citizens, okay, 740 million citizens. And they are collecting 6 billions of royalties yearly, okay, 6 billion. Africa, sub-Africa, Africa, 1 billion citizen, okay, so remember, Europe, 740, Africa, 1 billion. Royalties, 6 billion in Europe, Africa, 740 million. 740 million citizens in Europe, 6 billion royalties. 1 billion citizen in Africa, 74 million royalties. We need to do something. We need to change something. It's not possible. It's not just because you have rich countries or whatever. It's just because the infrastructure has been built just for fuse. That's all. So we need to open source. We need to create something that will be able to be used by everybody. Not talking
Yeah.
about the origin or whatever.
Yeah, that yeah, making sure that we solve the lost opportunity there in Africa and other emerging markets. Yeah, especially with AI coming online too. It's just complicating matters.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, anyway, so JC, where can we find more information?
Today, so the first thing is our Instagram, Allfeat, and the second is our X, Allfeat underscore IP. Or, I mean, the easiest way is to go to allfeat.org and you have everything, all the socials and all the documentations, the white paper, yellow paper, everything is there to have all the information, and you can reach us anytime you have the the internet, the address, everything. So allfeat.org.
And that's ALLFEAT.org. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys both for being on the show, and we look forward to more updates, JC, and hearing more progress from you, Marshall, on your game, and also probably you and I, Marshall, may be writing some software that may even be taking advantage of Allfeat as well. So I look forward to doing some new tools or development solutions. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you very much.